WZZM 13 wishes you a safe and happy New Year.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lee Vanamy.
And I'm Larry Figurski. Like you, we're settling in for a long day of bowl games, including the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl.
WZZM 13 is ready to get you started, so let's sit back. Oh, yeah, relax and join us on the Rose Bowl. These are nice.
They are. Very nice.
Good.
Road to the Rose Bowl, a WZZM 13 news special.
Well, I hope there isn't any gum on the bottoms of my shoe there. I didn't check before we got on, but they've given us an exciting season, and we're ready for another thrill-filled day of Michigan football.
Yeah, we are indeed, and hopefully a big celebration to follow. Obviously, I was scheduled to be in Pasadena, but had some family medical concerns come up over the holidays. And decided it was best to stay at home, but I'm happy to be here today, and like all the folks out there, we'll be watching the game live here on WZZM.
And it's nice to be spending the first day of 1998 with you, working with you. Of course, the Michigan-Wisconsin State matchup is worth more than the roses this year, for the whole kit and caboodle, the whole enchilada numero uno, national championship.
I now know who has all the pull around here. We've got everything we need. We got chips. I think we got a little dip in there, some soft drinks as well.
Soft drinks to go.
Pretty cozy chairs.
It is, absolutely. Now, not only are we prepared, but so is the WZZM 13 Rose Bowl team. We have players from the West Coast to West Michigan. And Tina Ezedine is on the road to the Rose Bowl. She's the lucky one in Pasadena. Brett Ashcroft will tell us how local sports fans are getting ready for the big game. And Catherine Barrett introduces us to one of the state's biggest Michigan fans. But we begin right now, as I said, with a very lucky Tina Ezedine out there in Pasadena.
Yes, indeed, I am very lucky. Good morning and Happy New Year, everybody, from Pasadena, California. Beautiful and sunny Pasadena, California. Right now, the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade is going on outside of the bowl. Inside of the bowl, take a look. People are already starting to arrive for the big game. Actually, the true and faithful parade watchers have already been lining up. They've been outside for quite a while. It was like the calm before the storm, kind of. Parade watchers claimed their spot early, some since Wednesday morning.
3:30 in the morning. 3:30, can you believe that? And I have not slept, well, just a tad of nap, but that's it.
The sounds of music echoed through the streets, and for the faithful parade fans, they got their first glimpse of the floats. For many, the celebration is all about the parade and not necessarily the game.
I've been to about 5 parades.
Never gone to a game?
Never gone to a Rose Bowl game.
Why is that?
Oh, because I can watch it on TV just as easy.
Looks like this guy has the same idea, only he plans to watch the parade in person and on the tube. Better coverage that way, he says. A TV, a fire, well, what else do you need for a successful night under the stars?
Really, your whole house. We got the sleeping bags out here. We got a ping pong table. We got the lamp. We got tables and food and everything, whatever you want to bring. Usually we bring a TV out here and just whatever you can fit in the trunk of the car.
Just bring yourself.
Yeah.
Indeed, bring yourself if you can. 1 million people are placing themselves on the sidewalk out there to watch the parade. Then 100,000 of them are going to come into this bowl game and watch the granddaddy of them all. The big showdown, folks, is in 5 hours. Reporting live in Pasadena, California at the Rose Bowl, Tina Ezedine, WZZM 13 News. Let's continue our team coverage with Brent Ashcroft live in Walker.
Thanks, Tina. We're at Damon's on Alpine, still about 4.5 hours away from kickoff to the Rose Bowl. Michigan fans are slowly but surely beginning to trickle in here. In fact, this place should be busting at the seams later on today. East Grand Rapids' Bill Denhoff and Comstock Park's David Moore were the first ones in the door this morning, making sure they secured an early front row seat. Bill and Dave say they aren't budging from their seats and plan to stay all day through the Rose Bowl.
What's going on?
Just trying to secure a seat for the Michigan game. We're going to watch a few other games. There's
going to be 3 games on live, so it's nice to be able to watch all 3 at one time. So
You guys knew that you had to get here early because this is a big day in college football for this state.
yeah, it is. It's going to be great.
You betcha. It's a big day for Michigan football. I've waited all my life for them to win a national championship, but I just can't believe it. It's so great.
Michigan fans will no doubt be adorned in their Michigan garb today. Catherine Barrett has some suggestions on how you can get some. Catherine's live in Granville. Catherine?
Sports Bar may get busy today, but wait until tomorrow. If Michigan wins the Rose Bowl, this store in Granville is going to be swamped. It is called, appropriately, Let's Go Blue, and if it has anything to do with Michigan, it's sold here. Now, the man who owns the store has turned his love for the maize and blue into green.
Dave Derwich fell in love with Michigan football 50 years ago when U of M beat Pittsburgh 69-0. It wasn't the game that struck him as much as the fight song. He sang it all the way home.
All the way home, I drove the people crazy in the car. They turned around and told me to shut your big mouth. You know, I said, I can't help it. I love that song.
Today, the Victors plays in Derwich's Chicago Drive store, Let's Go Blue, nonstop. You see, Derwich was too poor to go to college. Instead, he bought season tickets, attended games, even posed for photos with the coaches.
Bo Schembechler one time said, we've got a lot of superstars on the University of Michigan football team, but the important thing is they don't know that they're superstars, and that means a lot, you know. And I think that's the same feeling with the Michigan fans. The way the team loves each other, I think we all love Michigan, you know, and that binds us together. It really does, you know.
In 1982, on a challenge from a friend, Derwich opened his store. More than 1,600 Michigan products and not a single Spartan item in the bunch.
You know, he had said to me, why don't you sell part Michigan State and part Notre Dame? He says, because there's all 3 fans in the city. I says, well, I can't because I don't like those schools at all. Those aren't the words I really used, Catherine.
Despite his single-minded pursuit, every once in a while, Derwich hears from a Spartan.
Now, once in a while, if we get beat by a team, you know, I'll get a phone call from one of their customers, and they say something very nasty and hang up, you know, and I say, boy, how brave that is. They don't even give me a chance to respond, you know, but...
Now, if Michigan wins the game today, this store will open the doors at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and they'll have a whole shipment of commemorative National Championship Rose Bowl winner T-shirts just for Michigan. So 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, you want to be here if you want to get a hold of one of them, because their shelves that were full of their championship shirts, their Rose Bowl T-shirts going into the game are all gone. So you want to get here early. On the road to the Rose Bowl, I'm Catherine Barrett, WZZM 13 News.
All right, now, Catherine, how can you get a hold of those shirts so quickly?
Actually, they are made and sold on a contingency basis, so that if they win, then in they come, zip, zip in the door. But you can bet the other guys, and we don't like to think about them winning, but they've had T-shirts made too, and they'll get them on that horrible off chance that they win the game.
All right, thanks, Catherine. I'm sure Dave Derwich would know the answer to our first U of M trivia question.
And the first answer is that I know I don't want those Wisconsin fans to get excited out there. No, you're not playing in the Rose Bowl today. I know it's Washington State. I'm only drinking pop, but, you know, the sports stuff, you know, can be tough. You have to remember all these names. But anyway, the question is, getting back to the trivia, what was the final score and what team was Michigan's opponent in the first Rose Bowl? We need the opponent, we need the final score, and the answer is coming up a little later on in our Road to the Rose Bowl special.
Also, they say it never rains in Southern California. Just ahead, Mark Bassara will have a look at the forecast in Pasadena as well as the other bowl sites across the country.
That's right, and later we'll introduce you to 2 West Michigan residents who know what it's like to run for the Roses.
Good luck to them, and I wish to come home with the title.
There's going to be a lot of cheering going on everywhere.
Everybody's got to cheer for Michigan. They have to. They're representing our state.
The Road to the Rose Bowl is brought to you by Williams Furniture, Rogers, McDonald's, and by Pillsbury.
And you are looking at a live picture right now of Pasadena, California, where the Rose Bowl parade continues in all of its glories. It's always beautiful, quite colorful out there. Earlier on WZZM 13, you saw the Michigan Wolverine Marching Band in the Big Ten float. And I bet you out there in Pasadena, it's probably, what, 50 degrees warmer than it is here right now?
It is always warmer. Every bowl game is going to be warmer than it is here for today. So we're going to take a tour weather-wise of all the bowl games, and you don't even have to leave your seat. So let's take a look. At first stop, of course, is the Florida Citrus Bowl. I'll hop on a plane. Let's fly on down there where it looks like down in Orlando, temperatures going to be pretty mild for this time of the year. Lots of sunshine, temperatures in the upper 50s to right around 60 degrees. Florida Citrus Bowl takes place at 1 p.m. From there, we fly to the all-important Rose Bowl out in Pasadena for the national championship. Looking pretty good out there temperature-wise. The upper 60s under partly cloudy skies. And yes, they've been talking about rain, but no, don't think it's going to happen. Should be a dry game, and so it looks like for the most part, things should be fantastic. After that, we're going to head down to New Orleans to the Superdome. Superdome, that is. Of course, inside it'll be warmer, but outside, not too bad. Partly cloudy skies. Temperatures right around 50 to the low 50s. So, of course, everybody will be warmer than us. Outside right now, the Grand Rapids area, temperatures well into the 30s. Finally, we're warming up. Unfortunately, it's a windy day out there. Look at those southwest winds gusting over 32 miles per hour. That's adding definitely a chill to the air, makes it feel like 9. So if you're heading outside around Grand Rapids area, it's going to be chilly for today. Wind chills elsewhere, basically in the single digits across the region for today. Warmer temperatures. La Crosse is up to 43, Chicago 37, Detroit still at 32. And temperatures along the lakeshore perhaps warming up even faster on those gusty southwest winds. Take a quick look at the national satellite. Lots of clouds off to our north. We'll share in some of those clouds later on. And all the clouds across northern California, they'll be staying there and should not be affecting the game out in the Rose Bowl. So some good news out across that area. Weather maps showing for the most part the cold Arctic air bottled up north. It's going to stay there for the next few days. And although tomorrow we'll see a cool front moving our direction, we'll see more clouds and temperatures will be staying on the mild side. Oh, and windy too. Check out the forecast in for today. Windy and milder high temperatures for today. Not the teens. We'll call it 36 degrees, a little bit warmer along the lakeshore. And those gusty winds will be blowing around all that lake effect snow. So if you're driving on the lakeshore, watch out for blowing and drifting snow. And for tonight, still windy, still mild with steady temperatures back into the 30s and even warmer for tomorrow with high temperatures, believe it or not, into the lower 40s. Still the winds, so still the wind chills across the area. Over the next several days for this weekend, chance of a couple of showers changing over to snow showers, but no real Arctic air in sight, so at least that's our first present for the first part of this year. Of course, Chris Paul is joining us. We're both in our maize and blue.
You're looking fine as usual.
I wonder who we're rooting for. Any guesses?
Well, I'm not going to say, but I think you know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
You bet.
And just 8 minutes into the new year here in West Michigan, gunshots rang out in Grand Rapids. Police say a 25-year-old man fired his gun outside a house on the 1700 block of College and Southeast. A bullet went through a wall and hit a woman inside the home. Her injury is considered non-life-threatening. The shooter is in custody. And just a few hours later, more gunfire at the 1100 block of Prospect on Southeast. According to investigators, the man was shot at outside his home just after 5 a.m. The gunman missed. The police have 2 suspects in custody, and their weapons were confiscated. A Grand Rapids police officer is spending her New Year's in the hospital, recovering from a gunshot wound. Officer Lori Dykstra is listed in fair condition today after a man she tried to help grabbed her gun and shot her. It happened yesterday afternoon at the corner of Century and Lafayette in Southwest. Dykstra responded to a call for help and found a man with a severely cut hand. As she bandaged him up and tried to help him walk, the suspect grabbed the gun from her holster and shot her. The bullet hit her in the arm, shattered a rib, then collapsed a lung. But Dykstra is expected to make a full recovery. A skiing accident on New Year's Eve claims the life of Michael Kennedy. Witnesses say the 39-year-old son of late Senator Robert Kennedy was enjoying the holidays with his family on the slopes of Vail, Colorado. He was in the middle of a touch football game and went out for a pass, caught the ball, and hit a tree. Kennedy was pronounced dead 90 minutes later at a local hospital. 2 Americans resolved this year to be the first person to fly a hot air balloon around the world non-stop. Balloonist Steve Fawcett set off yesterday and is now adrift over the Atlantic. His competition, Kevin Uliassi, also lifted off on New Year's Eve, but he's back on the ground today. Equipment failure forced him to quit the race. At stake, a $1 million prize offered by Anheuser-Busch. West Michigan's first baby of the new year is taking it easy today. 7-pound, 8-ounce Chase Hunter Kilner was born at Butterworth Hospital in Grand Rapids at 1:11 this morning. The baby's mom is Barb Brinks of Granville. Both mom and son are reported to be doing just fine and probably both watching the games today. And that's the news of the day. And now back to Rose Bowl coverage. We join Lee and Larry at the monitor, guys.
All right, thank you very much. And we have a lot more ahead. What was your favorite game of the season? We'll take a look back.
And we'll also take a closer look at the Washington State Cougars, the last team standing in the way of Michigan's first football national championship in 50 years.
Wow, but first, a few well wishes from you.
Make sure you win, man. I've been waiting all my life for Michigan to be #1 at football.
Bring it home. Bring it home. Go get Washington State. We know you can do it, so go get them.
Over here, Gracie looking, getting some pressure. His pass is away. It's a touchdown.
And welcome back to Road to the Rose Bowl. It was plays like that which have helped push the Michigan Wolverines to the brink of their most successful season in half a century. Today they sit one win shy of a national championship, but the Road to the Rose Bowl began 4 months ago.
And here are the Michigan Wolverines.
The Wolverines kicked off the toughest schedule in the country with what was supposed to be one of their most difficult games. The 14th ranked Michigan rolled over number 8 Colorado.
Gracie looking, getting some pressure. His pass is away. It's a touchdown.
The Wolverines blasting the Buffaloes 27-3. Michigan moved up to number 8 in the polls and a week later showed Baylor why.
Watson leaping touchdown.
The Wolverines bouncing the Bears 38-3. With the win, Michigan climbed 2 spots to number 6 before hosting Notre Dame. The Wolverines edging the Irish 21-14. A week later, the Maize and Blue made roadkill out of Indiana, blanking the Hoosiers 37-zip before some Brian Greasy magic in a win over Northwestern back at the Big House.
Somehow gets away and wide.
Jeremy Toomer.
The Wolverines downing the Cats 23-6. By week 6, Michigan had moved up to number 5, but had to come from behind to beat 15th-ranked Iowa 28-24 before banging heads with Michigan State for the 90th time.
And it's Williams. Great balance, keeps it going.
The Wolverines knocking off the Spartans 23-7 to climb to number 4 in the polls. Michigan then toying with Minnesota 24-3, setting up a showdown with second-ranked Penn State.
Down the middle, wide open. It's Woodson, touchdown.
Michigan pounding Penn State 34-8 in Happy Valley, and suddenly the Wolverines were ranked number 1 by the Associated Press. They maintained that spot a week later at Wisconsin.
Nice sweeps there, touchdown. Michigan.
The Wolverines outlasting the Badgers 26-16, setting up yet another classic confrontation with Ohio State for the Big Ten title and a trip to the Rose Bowl.
Woodson's got one block.
The Wolverines topping the Buckeyes 20-14 to take the Big Ten crown. Michigan finishing the regular season a perfect 11-0 and ranked number 1 in both the AP and the USA Today ESPN coaches poll.
You got ready to play every single week. You prepared hard. You had a tremendous attitude. And gentlemen, you'll always be able to say that we did it.
On the road to the Rose Bowl, Larry Figurski, WZZM 13 Sports.
They do indeed. And Coach Carr has a reason to be proud, and so does the coach at West Ottawa High School.
That's right. Number 58, one of Michigan's men in the middle, is Rob Renus, a graduate of West Ottawa High. And as Peter Ross tells us, he's living a lifelong dream.
Linemen don't make a lot of highlight films, but Renus' former coach has a few.
Boom, ball moves, there he goes. He went off.
In Renus, Coach Doug Coe had a big, quick lineman who also served as the team's kicker.
We're not going to see those on Michigan highlights. We got something they don't have. And there's his other shoe he's got to throw off the field.
Renus was honored as one of Michigan's best high school football players, but he was also a champion wrestler, weightlifter, and lettered in track and field.
Everything I do, even wrestling, wrestling's helped me to, prepare for football and help with my balance and stuff like that. And everything I do, I always try to put it into some way of getting a benefit out of it towards playing football and doing well in school.
I think he's a credit to his parents and to the school system and all, and to the whole west side of the state.
Even before Renus starred here at West Ottawa, he had a goal, a dream, to play football for the University of Michigan.
Now, number 58 is living that dream in the middle of the Wolverine defensive line.
5 years ago, I wasn't sure if I'd ever be out to California, but now being a part of what I consider to be the best team in the country, it's a real blessing.
On the road to the Rose Bowl, I'm Peter Ross.
All right, thanks, Peter. And of course, you can't talk about the Michigan Wolverines without paying tribute to Charles Woodson. More on the Heisman Trophy winner in just a moment.
That's right. And you wouldn't you rather like to be a fly on the wall at the Adams house come game time? That's because now he is a Washington State alum. See, I just can't say that. I don't know why. And she graduated from the University of Michigan. So stay with us for that story.
I just like them a lot, but I believe in them.
Good luck and just whoop their butt.
They're my favorite team.
This is Howard. There he goes. Oh, my goodness. Touchdown.
Well, win or lose in Pasadena, it has already been a record-setting year for one member of the Michigan defense.
And you know, we get so many of these nice props. I wonder if we get to keep them.
Great.
Yeah, Charles Woodson began the season as a long-shot Heisman Trophy candidate, especially when you consider no defensive player had ever won college football's most coveted award. But then again, Woodson was more than just an excellent cornerback. Charles was a triple threat in '97, scoring 3 touchdowns as a receiver on offense and running another back as a return man on special teams. By the final month of the season, Woodson had gone from a long shot to a favorite, along with Tennessee quarterback Peyton Manning. And then came the announcement on December 13th.
To the most outstanding collegiate football player in the United States, 1997. And the winner, from Michigan, Charles Woodson.
Woodson actually receiving nearly 300 more votes than Manning. Again, Charles becoming the first defensive player everly to win the Heisman Trophy.
It was an incredible story, incredible year for him as well as Michigan. Well, all of the hype surrounding this 84th Rose Bowl game has been directed at the Michigan Wolverines, of course. But what about the opponent, Washington State? As Brent Ashcroft tells us, Michigan players are prepared and well aware that the Cougars will not be the sacrificial lambs led to the slaughter.
Washington State is going to the Rose Bowl.
And I think we're the Rodney Dangerfield of college football, and it seems like we have been from the very start of the year.
But if the Wolverines buy into that theory, the party could be over in Ann Arbor. The Washington State Cougars are a team the likes of which Michigan hasn't played against all year, meaning the Wolverine respect factor had better be present in Pasadena.
They're way up there in the northern part of the country, and they don't get some of the media exposure maybe that some of the other teams get, but they are a great football team.
Led by one of the nation's top quarterbacks, Ryan Leaf is a quarterback with a linebacker's mentality, in complete control of the nation's second most prolific offense. The Heisman candidate threw for 34 touchdowns and averaged nearly 350 yards passing per game in '97.
We're going to have to get a lot of pressure on him. We're going to have to knock him down, just let him know that we're there. He's a great competitor, and that team is going to feed off him.
In order to completely contain Ryan Leaf, Michigan's defense has to shut down his options. Chris Jackson and the Cougars' Fab 5 wide receiving core, and the ground game led by 1,000-yard rusher Michael Black.
They average 150 yards on the ground, and that, you know, against any defense, that's quite an accomplishment.
Everybody knows that they do a lot of things with their receivers, so I mean, it'll be a tough challenge for us.
On the flip side of the ball, the Cougars allowed the opponent an average of 25 points per game, but Michigan knows it can't take consolation in that statistic.
Washington State is a great team, but we can't worry about Washington State. All we can worry about is Michigan. We don't have to change nothing now. We can just go with our basic offense and go out there and win a game and play hard.
We're going to see if offense wins championships or defense wins championships. You know, it's going to be a great challenge, and it's something that we're truly looking forward to.
On the road to the Rose Bowl, I'm Brent Ashcroft.
All right, thanks, Brendan. Maybe the Cougars' first trip to the Rose Bowl in nearly 7 decades, but many Michigan fans in Southern California concerned only with getting their tickets to the game.
I know, an unfortunate part of the story, and Tina Ezedine has been talking with some of those fans who may be rooting for the team in a hotel room.
Lee, it is the last thing they expected, but it may be exactly what they get. Many U of M fans may not be entering the gates here with a ticket to the Rose Bowl. It's been indeed a very rough road to the Rose Bowl for about 300 people who bought a ticket to LA and to the game, or so they thought, through a special tour package. Worldwide Sport Travel sold tour packages at $1,500 a piece to fans who wanted to watch the game. At the time, it may have sounded like a good deal, but there was no deal. When people arrived in L.A., they were told the broker who was supplying the tickets could not come through. Stuck at a hotel to figure out all the troubles, angry fans signed up to begin the process of filing a class action lawsuit. Worldwide told everyone if they want tickets to the game, they have to pay an additional $250.
Angry is the main word. We're confused, we're upset. We don't believe one thing they're saying. It's one lie right after another.
I am so upset and so mad and so crushed. I mean, we've been here, we've never been here before, and we just wanted to come and watch Michigan win and go home and have a good time, and it's been miserable every day.
Indeed, a very rough situation for them there. An update to the women that you just saw. They are from Muskegon. I just found out that they went to an area broker here and did purchase tickets to the game. They had to pay $900. And most of the brokers around town are saying that's exactly what the tickets are going for. But being, of course, that it's game day, of course, they might up the ante on that price. The demand is high. And so, too, is the price. Reporting live at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, Tina Ezedine, WZZM 13 News. Check out all these crowds. They're very excited. Back to you.
All right. Thanks very much, Tina. It's unfortunate that that had to happen. But, you know, you're out there, game day. You flew out there. What are you going to do? You need a ticket, really.
A lot of money.
You know, this is actually one of the nicest locker rooms that I've been in a long time.
Smells great, too.
Now, do you know the answer to our trivia question?
The question was, who was Michigan's opponent in the Wolverines' very first Rose Bowl, and what was the final score? The answer, Michigan rolling over Stanford in 1902, the Wolverines blanking the Cardinals 49-zip.
Wouldn't we like to see that happen again today? I don't know. We'll give you another chance to prove you know your Michigan Rose Bowl history.
Between 1902 and 1993, how many times has Michigan won the Rose Bowl? The answer coming up a bit later.
And still ahead on this road to the Rose Bowl special, he dreamed of going to a bowl game, but one former Michigan player's dream is short-circuited. His story is just ahead.
Plus, you've heard it thousands of times, but could you sing it? We're talking about the Michigan fight song. I know you can. You're a U of M grad.
No problem.
Put yourself to the test coming up in just a bit. Stay with us.
I think they can do it. It's theirs to lose, so yeah, good luck, guys.
I want Brian Greasy to do well. I think it's great that he's followed in the footsteps of his dad and done so well. I just think that's terrific.
Fire up, guys. Come on. Pull it through for us. Thanks. All right.
And it's Williams. Great balance, keeps it going inside the 10 and finally knocked out of bounds.
I used car while I was here from one of those little old ladies.
And welcome back. The road to the Rose Bowl, much more than just a game. It's a week-long event. One of the biggest highlights, the Tournament of Roses parade, and you are looking at a live picture of that. More than 1 million people have lined the streets of Pasadena for the 109th annual Rose Parade, with another estimated 425 million people in 100 countries watching around the world via television. Well, they've been practicing and working hard all year for the big game. This particular group of Wolverines has spent the past 2 weeks fine-tuning for the granddaddy of them all, but they're not preparing for tackles or handoffs. Instead, parades and pep rallies. Of the 399 members of the Michigan Marching Band, only 252 get to make the trip to Pasadena, but that group did include several U of M seniors from West Michigan, Matt Burrows of Kalamazoo, Kristen Register of Jenison, just two of the many who had to go through a rigorous audition to make the travel team. And like players, the band members say each must pay their dues.
We're all told that not all of us are going to be in it. And I mean, it's pretty understandable because there's so many of us.
You know, we're all friends, and, you know, it's not like dog-eat-dog competition or anything, but you want to be going, and if you don't, you'll probably be a little down at first, but everybody will get their shot to go.
Well, it costs about $250,000 to send the band to Pasadena, and the university covers all the expenses. And Lee, those band members aren't the only ones not going to the Rose Bowl. Again, Lee, those people, few who don't have a chance to go, but they're not alone. Lee?
Thanks, Larry. We're back in the locker room. You know, and locker rooms are where Rose Bowl dreams start, but a Wolverine from West Michigan is not going to share in the team's glory. And Brent Ashcroft joins us live with that story right now. Brent?
Lee, East Kentwood's John Ains was supposed to be in Pasadena today with the rest of his Michigan teammates, enjoying the pageantry surrounding the Rose Bowl and preparing for Washington State. fact, he might have even been the starting fullback for the Wolverines today, but things took a turn for John last year. His battles with everyday life became more challenging than his battles on the football field.
Handed away to John Ames, who is being seasoned well today.
I'll always remember my experience at Michigan. I'll remember it as, one of the best years of my life.
And perhaps one of the worst. John Ames stepped out of East Kentwood High School 2 years ago, a bona fide Division I prospect, and prepared to begin living his dream, playing football at the University of Michigan. But after a brilliant freshman season, something went wrong.
I'd just stay in my room. I wouldn't go out. I didn't want to talk to anybody anymore. Just kind of trying to keep to myself as much as I could.
Really thought a lot of it was he was starting to feel burnt out, growing pains, homesick.
But it would prove to be much worse than that. John's condition deteriorated to a point where he'd begun skipping classes, team workouts, and training camp, and ultimately contemplating suicide. That was when Coach Carr stepped in.
Coach Carr started getting concerned after a while and contacted a psychiatrist.
John was diagnosed with depression and was put immediately on medication.
At that point, though, the coaches wanted me to come back and play football, and I told them that I would. Inside, the whole time, I still, in my heart, did not want to play at that point because of all the things that were going on in my life.
John ultimately decided to put football aside while recovering and working at home in Grand Rapids. That despite Michigan's Big Ten title, Rose Bowl appearance, and chance at a national championship.
I really don't miss it too much. I never tried to prioritize football as the number one thing in my life. I'll always know that I played for them, and I'll always support Michigan and not having any regrets.
And Lee, there's some very good news to report on John today. His condition is improving. He's feeling the best he's felt in months. In fact, he's even entertaining thoughts of possibly rejoining Michigan in the near future to fulfill his final 3 years of eligibility. Back to you, Lee.
And Brent, as you know, depression is something that strikes a lot of high-profile, high-energy people lots of times. Thanks very much, Brent.
You bet.
Still ahead, we'll have a look back at Michigan's Rose Bowl history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So stay with us.
I am from Washington, from Seattle, though, which is the other side of the state from the Cougars. So it's going to be divided. In the first half, I think I'll have to go with Michigan, and in the second half with the Cougars.
Just they know what to do. It's all good. Coming home with it. No doubts, no doubts.
It's Chris Howard. Second effort. Touchdown.
A lot of great moments this year for a Wolverine fan. Now, you've probably heard the phrase, a house divided against itself cannot stand.
Yes, and one Grand Rapids couple may have proof of that after today's game.
That's right.
Shelley Bailey Shaw has more on Mrs. Wolverine and Mr. Cougar.
You don't see many Christmas trees with a Washington State mascot dangling from a limb. Then again, you don't meet many couples like Karn and Jeff Adams. She's a Michigan alum, class of 1990. He's a Washington State alum, class of 1987. This year's Christmas present was a Rose Bowl berth for both their teams.
But I'm just tickled pink that our team is actually going to the Rose Bowl after, what, 66 years or something like that.
So it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, yeah.
And even though there's no Michigan ornament on the tree, everything else in this house is split right down the middle, from baseball caps and pennants to their car keys.
Like it was
Yeah. Even the kids' snowmen are divided. One is sporting maize and blue, the other is donning crimson and gray. So what about the kids? How did they decide who to root for?
Birth state. Jane was born in Seattle, and she's going for the Cougs.
Fight, fight, fight for Washington State. Win that victory.
And Peter,
Go Blue's easy enough to
Peter
say,
was born
so.
here in Grand Rapids,
No, it wasn't.
and all he can say is go Blue, so he's got his team picked out.
Go Blue. Go Blue.
The only family member unaccounted for is Lily. Smart dog that she is, Lily is playing both sides of the field.
Best in the West, you know what I'll do our best.
On the road to the Rose Bowl, I'm Shelley Bailey Shaw, WZZM 13 News.
And some West Michigan men know exactly what the Wolverines are going through in Pasadena today. Dan Horning of Grand Haven was part of 2 Rose Bowl teams. His brother-in-law, B.J. Dickey, was a second-string quarterback who went to the Rose Bowl his freshman and sophomore years. Both have a lot of mementos that they cherish, but neither is willing to predict the outcome of today's game. BJ and Dan think that they just might jinx the Wolverines if they predict a winner.
Well, the Wolverines and Cougars will meet for just the 4th time ever this afternoon in Pasadena. Washington State hasn't added a chapter to its Rose Bowl history book since 1931. But as John Matlack tells us, the Wolverines, another story.
You know, for as long as I've been at Washington State, I've always heard that, you know, Cougars, hell will freeze over when the Cougars go to the Rose Bowl.
The weather forecast isn't quite that chilly when the Wolverines head off to Pasadena. This will be their 17th trip, although their first since 1993. And you can divide their history into 3 separate eras. The old days, from 1902 to 1965, when the Wolverines were a perfect 4-0 out west. They gave up just 13 total points in those 4 wins. And then came the middle years.
Bad trip for the Wolverines. Coach Boschembeckler had a mild heart attack, missed the game. Jimmy Jones hit Bob Chandler for the winning touchdown. Southern California, 10-3.
That was Michigan's first postseason loss ever, and it started a decade of disappointment at the Rose Bowl. 5 Michigan games, 5 Michigan losses.
Michigan ranking 2nd in the national poll, Southern California 3rd. Both teams loaded with talent who would go on to star in the NFL. Vince Evans scored the first Trojan touchdown. Charles White scored the second. Offsetting Rob Lytle's score for Michigan, Southern California won it 14-6.
Then came the contemporary years. From 1981 through 1993, Michigan won 3 and lost 4. And on board for all 7 of those Rose Bowls was an assistant coach by the name of Lloyd Carr.
I've always felt that the Rose Bowl and the experience of coming to Southern California for this game was the greatest experience a college football player could have.
On first down from the 30, they're going to run it as long as they can. Missed in the backfield. Hort breaks it out big. He may go. Only Chris Hale can stop him, and he does.
And then in 1993, it was Tyrone Wheatley leading the way with 235 yards and 3 scores.
Wheatley could explode. He's a former state sprint champion. He'll score.
So the Wolverines take a 7-9 Rose Bowl record into this year's contest. Although they've never met Washington State out in Pasadena, they do have some history with the Cougars. 3 games, 3 wins by a 105-49 point differential. On the road to the Rose Bowl, I'm John Matlack.
Now, if you listen carefully to John's history piece, you should know the answer to the Rose Bowl history question. We'll refresh your memory just ahead.
Yeah, and if you had to, could you sing the Michigan fight song? Care to belt out a few bars? Okay, if you had to. We'll put some West Michigan fans to the test. That story straight ahead. Stay with us.
Good job, and keep it up, boys. Good luck. I hope you go all the way.
Let's go.
If Charles Wickham had been here, what would you say to him?
Can I have a jersey?
On second down, they slant him in. Woodson leaping touchdown.
And welcome back to the road to the Rose Bowl. As we watch the game, you can bet thousands of Wolverine fans will be singing Hail to the Victors today, but do they really know the words?
Chris Paul, try to find out.
We've all heard it many, many times before. It's the fight song for good old U of M. Traditionally, thousands sing it every time the Wolverines score.
Touchdown.
So you'd think everybody would know the words by now, right?
Well, that's what we wanted to find out. So we took our cameras to a local mall and put you, West Michigan, to the test.
Do you know the song?
Not by heart, no, but I know somewhat of it, though.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you know how that goes?
Don't tell me to sing it.
Do your best.
No, come on, you got to sing it together. Get on over here.
I don't know. All I know is the first hail to the victors, blah, 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 hail to the victors.
How much do you know of it?
Not too much of it. Not enough to recite the whole thing.
Can you sing a little bit?
Then you're going to say, okay, we made you do it now. You guys are the biggest fools in this
No,
world.
that's not true. You won't be the biggest.
Duh. That's it. That's all I can do.
Hail to the victors. Something, something.
So far, not so good. So we tried a store with sports hats. Michigan sports hats.
Hail to the victors, victors, hail, hail to Michigan. That's about all I know.
Getting better. Surely someone somewhere knows it.
Hail to the victors valiant, hail to the conquering heroes, hail, hail to Michigan. Okay, say it.
Hail, hail to Michigan, the champions of the West.
That's it. Go Blue. On the road to the Rose Bowl, Chris Paul, WZZM 13 News.
Kind of like the
Yeah, they did better than I would.
It's an easy song. Brings a little tear to your eye,
doesn't it?
So, how did you do with our Rose Bowl trivia question? Between 1902 and 1993, how many times has U of M won the Rose Bowl?
Well, the answer, 7. 1902, 1948, again the last national championship year. 1951, 1965, 1981, 1989, and yes, 1993.
And we'll add 1998, right?
We'll see if that happens. Still to come, we'll head back to Pasadena and check in with Tina Ezedy.
We'll also tell you where to see your favorite teams on this big bowl day, so stay with us.
The Road to the Rose Bowl is brought to you by Williams Furniture, your local Dodge dealer, McDonald's, and by Lennox, one less thing to worry about.
Well, it is still several hours before game time, but that doesn't matter to the tens of thousands of fans who are taking in the ambiance of Pasadena.
And our Tina Ezedy is smack dab in the middle of it. And Tina, I imagine everybody's getting a little antsy for kickoff by now.
Oh, you bet, Larry. You got that right. The excitement here has been building for days. U of M with a national championship title on the line, and Washington State the honor and the pressure of winning their second Rose Bowl. So as you can imagine, the fans are fired up. Crowds have been arriving since about the time that the sun went up. The stadium is decked out, cars are decked out, and fans are so excited they're ready for it. In fact, let's talk for a few of them right now. This is Joe. Thank you very much for being with us. Hey, tell us a little bit about how excited you are for this game.
Very excited. It's been the first time I've ever been to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah? Oh, that's going to be a great game. And tell me a little bit about, you just got your tickets. Tell us that story.
Yes, we got them at 12 o'clock last night. In fact, I think it was 1998 instead of 97 when we got our tickets. We waited the last minute, but all it counts is we've got the tickets. We're going to watch Michigan win the Rose Bowl and the national title today, and we're so excited. Go Blue! Go Blue!
Gotta ask you, how much did you pay for those tickets?
We paid $300, and we thought we got a good deal at that. Yeah. They were going for a lot higher. We waited a little bit, and they came down, and it's worth it.
Yeah, you bet.
We can't wait.
Okay, wouldn't it be great if they win the new year and win in the game and all?
Oh, yes, it will. We're looking forward to it, and we're going to win a national title today. Go Blue!
All right, great. Thank you very much. Well, since everyone around here seems to be expressing exactly what team they're rooting for, I don't seem to have a problem with it. So I got my hat, and I'm all excited. I'm ready to go. Now all I need is a ball. Whoa! I'm all set. Hey, are you guys? See you back there. We'll have more after the game. Reporting live in Pasadena, California at the Rose Bowl, Tina Ezedy, WZZM 13 News.
I think she's having too much fun out there.
She is indeed.
Thanks, Tina. Next year,
You bet.
I think we should be out there.
I think
for
so.
Sure.
Let's plan on
Absolutely. We will. And be sure to keep it on 13 for your best coverage of the day's bowl games.
In fact, we are just moments away from the Citrus Bowl. Penn State squaring off with Florida live here on WZZM. The Citrus, of course, followed by the Rose Bowl. Michigan and Washington State. ABC's coverage begins at 4:30, and the tripleheader rounds out with the Sugar Bowl. Florida State Seminoles taking on John Cooper and the Ohio State Buckeyes. I know these are just props, Lee, but I'm getting into them. That's going to wrap it up for the pregame portion of the bowl day here on WZZM. Thanks for joining us on the road to the Rose Bowl.
And you know, I got to sit back, relax. We got to enjoy the big day in college football, and I got to say it, Larry. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.